Ahead on the CFL Report, it's opening night at Taylor Field. We'll talk to the coaches. The CFL Reporter meets the new coach in Ottawa. And Marty Adler picks the winners for Week 1. Welcome to Taylor Field in Regina on a glorious opening night to the 1989 season. The weather here is terrific. The crowd is filing in anticipation of a great football game. The first of our 18 telecasts on TSN this year. The Calgary Stampeders and the Saskatchewan Roughriders getting set to entertain here at Taylor Field. Lots of tradition associated with this franchise. This is the 41st year in the modern era for the Roughriders since the team acquired that name back in 1948, acquired the green and white uniforms that have become a trademark. And Mr. Lauren Bishop, who lives about 60 miles east of Regina, has been a season's ticket holder all that time. And as usual, he is here ready to watch his Riders play. Welcome. Nice to have you here.
That's right. No, it's been my pleasure, and it is the 41st year. I'm quite proud of it.
Mr. Bishop, you have had a chance to sit in this stadium when the weather has not been nearly as nice as it is for this game.
Yes, I remember here sitting in the playoff game with Calgary when it actually was a blizzard. Yeah.
What was it like here over the years when this team struggled a little bit? And I'm sure you must have enjoyed yourself last year when the team played so well and was so entertaining. More than anything it won, it just put on a great show for the fans.
Oh, it was rough at times. I remember the dust. We had a dust storm down the center field one year, but now we have artificial turf, and before that was lighting. So we're progressing, and I think we'll always have a Rough Riders here in Saskatchewan. Yeah.
And they're going to win this year.
Well, they're going to be competitors, yeah.
And that seems to be all anybody wants. Let's go talk to the head coach now, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, John Gregory. He's standing by with John Wells. John?
Well, the coach is here, and a confident John Gregory, I think, would be one way to put it. You feel pretty good about your football club this season, better than last year?
Well, I feel good. I think the reason we all feel a lot better this year is we got that monkey off our back, that playoff monkey, and I think our guys expect to be in the playoffs rather than have to try to figure out some way to possibly make it.
So that changes the attitude of a football club. You have to think that your team is confident, like yourself.
Well, John, they've all year long, as I've said many times, they've taken a very business-like approach to this season, and it's not you don't see them shaking out there anymore. They look like they really know they can play and they know they can win.
And you've beaten some teams. You beat all of the teams in the CFL last year, and that was one thing you were telling me yesterday has to bring some of this confidence to Saskatchewan.
John, I think that's one of the really important things about this football team is that we did beat every team in the CFL, and I think that you have to be able to do that in order to have confidence. We don't have that one team that stares us in the eye and we say we can't beat them. So I think we can beat any of them. I think that I don't think we have a superstar football team. I think we have a good, solid football team.
It's a great night for it, John. Go out and have a heck of a ball game.
It's a beautiful night for football.
All right. Leif?
Well, thank you, John. Larry Kaharick is back for his second full year as head coach of the Stampeders. And, Larry, I would think as you enter a new season, the biggest area of concern for you has to be the quarterback position.
Especially with what happened to us in the preseason, losing Kramer and Terrence Jones. And, yes, you're absolutely right. But Danny Barrett has picked things up the last couple of days, and Dave Denbrever had a baptism in the exhibition season, so that's what we're going with.
Larry, last year the Stampeders struggled at 6-12. Where have you been able to strengthen the '89 edition?
Well, we're going to have our linebacking core together from day one that we strengthened during the season. And defensively, we think we have 11 out of 12 players going in that we know can play championship caliber football. Offensively, bringing in Dan Ferroni and Leo Blanchard being with us from the beginning, we feel our offensive line now tonight will be the first game as a unit that we can put together a good offensive unit. We're very encouraged about our quarterbacks, Jones and Kramer, but now we'll have to postpone that for a while.
You know, it's funny, I had a chat with Dan Ferroni and Leo Blanchard yesterday, and although it's only the first game of the season, they felt it was really critical to put on a good show to create some fan interest back in Calgary. How do you feel about that?
I believe that That's accurate, and it's true, and we're coming here to win the game, and we absolutely think that we can win the game. We know it's going to be a battle, but our players are in a good frame of mind, and we look forward to it.
Well, listen, you're 3-2 as a head coach lifetime against Saskatchewan, so this is a good place as any to start out the season.
Yes, thank you very much. That is a good place as any. The crowd's excited. They're going to be behind their team, and we're coming in here to do what we have to do.
Larry, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Peter.
Thank you, Leaf. Thanks to the coaches. A great night coming up ahead here at Taylor Field. The quarterback shuffle in Calgary. And starting out on the road to the Grey Cup. Might this be the Riders' year? We shall see. Stay with us. This is the CFL Report on TSN. This is the CFL Report on TSN from Taylor Field in Regina. Just under 29 minutes to go now until the opening kickoff here at Taylor Field and the start of the season in Regina. 2 years ago, the Saskatchewan Roughriders were 5-12-1 in John Gregory's first year as the head coach. Last year, that was really turned around as the Riders surpassed, I think, the expectations of everybody, posting an 11-7 record and making the playoffs for the first time in 11 years. In the mid-60s and 70s, the Saskatchewan Roughriders were a force to be reckoned with in Canadian football. In 1966, the Western Riders won their first championship, and in the next 10 years, Saskatchewan appeared in 4 more Grey Cup games. But then something in Saskatchewan went terribly wrong, and the drought began on the prairies, a drought that was to last 11 seasons. The Riders played .500 football in 78 and 79, but missed the playoffs in both years. In the next 9 seasons, the Green Riders managed just 46 wins in 138 games. But then in 88, the drought ended, and the Riders reaped a bountiful harvest. They made the playoffs for the first time in 11 years, playing to near-capacity crowds at Taylor Field in Regina. The Riders' season came to an end in the Western semifinal as they lost to the British Columbia Lions. But somehow, none of that mattered very much. Rider pride had swept the province of Saskatchewan once again, and all eyes were focused on the new season. A season where Saskatchewan hopes to shed its underdog image. A season where the Riders aspire to first place in the West and a berth in the Grey Cup. A season where the ghosts of '66 can finally be laid to rest.
Bobby Jurison starts his 4th full season with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and he has just gone through his 2nd full winter in Saskatchewan, a town that's been pretty good to you, and you're enjoying life here.
Oh, Saskatchewan's been really great to me, especially the fans here in the province have been excellent with the fan support. In the off-season, it was great. I did work with Team Westbridge, which was a drug and alcohol abuse for the area grade schools, and I really got a lot out of that.
What about the team this year? What are the goals Saskatchewan Roughriders are setting for themselves after 1988?
Well, after 1988, we had a little disappointment when we lost that game in the playoffs, but hey, that's in the past. We're looking for the future. We came into training camp in '89 in Saskatoon. First team meeting, we all decided, hey, we made the playoffs last year. That was great, but this year we're shooting for it all. We're going to try to get into the Grey Cup. I think we got a good chance to do it this year.
How much pressure is going to be on the defense up front when you look at a couple of new players in the secondary? Do you feel that going into this one tonight?
Well, I feel the people we have are capable of playing their positions, and I'm not worried about them at all. The only thing that hurts us on the D-line is losing a high-caliber player like Rick Clausen. I'm happy everything turned out great for him in BC, but I still wish he was here.
Thanks very much. Go ahead and get a quarterback tonight. Have a good one.
I hope so. Things will go well. We should win on.
All right, Bobby.
All right.
Pete?
Okay, John, thank you. Stability has been a key to the Riders' resurgence the last couple of years, on the field and off. It's still a goal in Calgary, but the Rough Rider example proves that it can be done there, too. Quarterback position is one that has haunted the Calgary Stampeders for the last 4 years. You need a scorecard to keep track of who's taken the snaps. Since '87, there have been no fewer than 3 #1 quarterbacks each season. In '86, Rick Johnson led the league with more than 4,000 yards passing and 31 touchdowns. But the following year, because of a shoulder injury, Johnson played in just 10 games. For those of you keeping score, enter Rick Warman as the new starter. By the end of the '87 season, Warman had established himself as the #1 man. But things didn't work out, and he was cut loose halfway through the '88 season. For those of you keeping score, delete Rick Warman. So the ball was handed back to Rick Johnson, who said no thanks and promptly retired from football in order to pursue an acting career. Delete Rick Johnson. And add to your lineup Eric Kramer. He began the '88 season with the NFL's Atlanta Falcons. He was cut and later picked up by the Stampeders, survived 6 sacks in his debut against Saskatchewan, and earned the #1 job in Calgary by the end of the season. All that lasted until the 6th play of the first scrimmage of training camp this spring, when some 600 pounds of lineman landed on his left knee. delete Eric Kramer, at least until mid-September. Next alternate on the depth chart, one Terrence Jones, perhaps the most talented player in the Stampeder camp. But he was hurt in a preseason game in Edmonton. He'll miss at least the first game and possibly more this season. Go back to your depth chart. Look for the name David Den Braber. His credentials include passing records with Ferris State, a top Division II school in the U.S., and 2 months' experience in the camp of the Dallas Cowboys last summer. And pencil in the name Danny Barrett, who was a Calgary quarterback way back before Rick Johnson started this whole story. Barrett came over in a deal with the Argonauts last week. He was tried and found wanting in Calgary between 83 and 85. But what goes around sometimes comes around again. Barrett and Den Braber will have to carry the load in Calgary for the moment. When the Calgary Stampeders game is going well, they're running the football, and Tim Petros more often than not is carrying it. You're going to get a chance to carry it a lot tonight against Saskatchewan?
Well, I sure plan to. We'd like to start off with a good running game, of course, move the ball, complements the passing game, but we definitely have to run the ball tonight.
Tim, you've had a chance to only work with Danny Barrett about 3 or 4 days since he arrived from Toronto. What has that been like, the adjustments in the game plan as far as you're concerned?
Well, Danny has come in, and we're very pleased to have Danny with us. We're having an experienced quarterback. But as far as he's come along a long way, he's a professional. He knows what's up. He's done very well picking up our system, and we're working very well through practice this week. I was very, very pleased with it.
I know that protection is a big thing for you people, isn't it? I mean, you've lost 2 quarterbacks now. You really have to work hard and bear down against a very good defense to make sure that Danny has some time to do some things.
That's very true. I guess a lot of people have a little doubts about our offensive line, but to tell you the truth, the quarterbacks that have got hurt, it's almost been fluke plays. It's not really been a direct drilled shot from a certain person, so it's not so much just that. We have given up a lot of sacks in preseason, but we're looking to improve it. Everybody's going to be playing together now for a while, and things are going to look much better tonight.
Well, you got the people that are number 1 on the depth chart back. We wish you luck. Have a good game today.
Thank you very much.
All right. Tim Petros is with us, and still ahead on the CFL Report. Old friends clash in Edmonton on Thursday night, and a chat coming up with Steve Goldman, the rookie head coach in Ottawa. Stay with us. You're looking at downtown Regina from Taylor Field. An absolutely glorious night for a football game. Just 21 minutes to go now until the opening kickoff to the first game of the season here at Taylor Field. If you're going to be in Edmonton on Thursday night, get yourself a ticket. Go to Commonwealth Stadium for what may be the best game of week number 1. All because of a trade started last year and completed in January. 2 years ago, Matt Dunnigan quarterbacked the Edmonton Eskimos to their 10th Grey Cup championship. And heading into last season, all signs pointed to a repeat performance at Commonwealth Stadium. But on their way to their 11th title, Dunnigan and the Eskimos had a falling out over money. The contract dispute prompted a trade, and Dunnigan soon found himself headed west to the BC Lions for future considerations. For the Lions, that trade provided immediate dividends. Dunnigan replaced an aging and immobile Roy DeWalt, injecting new life into the Lions' offensive attack, setting new offensive team records, and taking the Lions to within 1 completed pass of a Grey Cup championship. The futures were considered all of last season, finally confirmed in January of this year. In return for Dunnigan, Edmonton received 5 players. Jeff Braswell and Greg Stuman, both linebackers, cornerback Andre Francis and running back Reggie Taylor, and the Lions' first-round pick in '89, which turned out to be all-Canadian linebacker Leroy Blue. Now the trade took on new significance. It turned out to be a trade that has helped both teams considerably. When Braswell is on his game, he can be one of the best linebackers in the league. However, controlling his somewhat volatile personality is another story, as the Lions found out last year. As for Stuman, his resume speaks for itself. He was the CFL's top defensive player in '87, leading the league with 23 quarterback sacks. Those two, along with Andre Francis, will be starters in Edmonton this season, and Taylor and Blue have both made the Eskimo roster as backups. It turns out to be a 5-for-1 deal, and all 6 players will play key roles when the Lions open the season against the Eskimos in Edmonton on Thursday.
It won't be any problem for me to get up for BC, and, you know, the way that the Lions did the Eskimos last year, I'm pretty sure that, you know, it's a revenge factor working here. And for me and a couple other ex-BC Lions, it's going to be a revenge factor, so, you know, it's going to be an exciting game.
We saw Jeff and Greg Stuman over in Calgary, and they were eating a couple of hot dogs, waving at us in the stands, you know, saying, "We're gonna get you," you know. So it was a lot of fun seeing those guys, and it's gonna be a lot of fun playing against them.
Yeah, I got some old teammates I couldn't hit last year in practice, and I just want to see what line they stand on. You know what I'm saying? What side of the line they stand on. It's going to be very interesting. And they know it's going to be hard fought every down. It's going to be bloody down. And it's just, oh God.
I can't wait.
I can't wait.
We're in the West. Only one can go, and we know who that is. I'm out of here.
Might be a pretty good football game in Edmonton on Thursday night. It will be a good football game Friday night, the last one of the week, as the Winnipeg Blue Bombers open against the Ottawa Rough Riders. This week, the CFL Reporter caught up to rookie head coach Steve Goldman as he got ready for the season.
Well, the 2 exhibition games we used to evaluate our personnel. We wanted to find out how our personnel stacked up in the CFL. In the exhibition games, we also get part of our offensive and defensive systems in. So I think it told us a lot. I wish we had 2 more exhibition games. Well, we picked up Lloyd Mumphrey and Gary Columbus, who were out at Edmonton. Of course, they had picked up some people from BC in that trade. So there were some veteran players like Mumphrey and Columbus available. Putting them with Lloyd, Lewis, and Carter, I think that we'll have a much better pass rush than we had in the exhibition game, especially down at Hamilton. I thought we did rush the passer fairly well in the first half of Toronto, but they kind of wore us down a little bit. So we needed to acquire, you know, those 2 players. Well, you know, that's probably the biggest job we have here right now, besides getting upgrading the talent level, which we are doing by acquiring some veteran players like we've had and some players who we feel better than has been here in the past. I think also, like you say, the attitude and the positive things that can come out of our team and for the city of Ottawa, we're going to have to work extremely hard to change that attitude as a team and create a more positive approach, you know, to our play. Well, I'm not really that concerned about who we're playing, to be honest with you. I think any teams that we would be playing at this time for this football team right now, we're going to have to really get it up and play hard to win. But I think everybody in this league is very competitive, especially very competitive for us. And in order for us to become a competitive football team, it makes no difference whether we're playing Winnipeg, Toronto, Edmonton, or anybody. We have to get mentally right and get together as a football team and go out and play.
15.5 minutes to go till kickoff. A capacity crowd, probably around 23,000 coming into Taylor Field, ready for a great football game. So is Marty Adler. He's back with his picks of the week when we come back to Regina after this. Welcome back to Taylor Field in Regina. Big crowd filing in. We are about 13.5 minutes to go till the opening kickoff to the '89 season. Well, Marty Adler has been a regular fixture on this program for a couple of years now. He's back setting the odds. I don't think he's got enough guts to pick Calgary to win tonight here at Taylor Field. Marty?
I really believe that if you want to make the CFL interesting, you've got to have a line, and you got to check out the line, and then you got to watch the football game, and then you got to see whether or not you've beat the point spread. That's what's really important. In the game coming up, we've got Calgary going into Saskatchewan for the first game of the year, and in this one here, you've got a Saskatchewan team that is looking, maybe this is going to be the year. They made the playoffs for the first time in 12 seasons last year. Are they going to do better this year? Well, I kind of think so. And against Calgary, they're 7.5-point favorites. They'll cover in this first game. A new stat this year as well, the over-under, 46 points for tonight's game. I think this one will be an under in the first game. Now, British Columbia going into Edmonton. That's later on this week. This could be a preview of the Western Conference Final. You know, BC knocked off Edmonton and went to the Grey Cup last year. I don't think that's going to happen this year. I like Edmonton. They got a strong defense. Offense, they'll get the job done as well. BC having trouble still with that front office. In this game coming up this week, Edmonton favored by 4, will cover. The over-under, 44 points in this game. I think this one is an over. And 1 week this year, I am going to pick the Ottawa Rough Riders to win a game. This is not the week. Ottawa going into Winnipeg. Winnipeg 0-3 in the exhibition season, but you know what I say about exhibition games? They mean nothing. They mean nothing. Winnipeg favored by 8 and will cover. The over-under in this one, 41 points. That's how I see it, Leaf.
Well, Marty, that's interesting. I know you were so excited for your first game back this year. You picked the over and under in the last game, but you forgot to say if it was going to be over and under. But he's excited. He's back.
I want to tell everyone out there that I'm going to keep score this year. Between you and Marty, we're going to keep a tally. We may not announce it every week, but we will have a tally to update everybody and see who is winning this contest at odds with Marty Adler and Leif Pedersen.
You really want to embarrass us, don't you?
I want to embarrass somebody.
Tell how bad we
Let's
are.
start at the end of the week and see what Leif thinks of the the Winnipeg-Ottawa game on Friday.
Well, you know, that's in Winnipeg, and Marty has made them an 8-point favor. He thinks they'll cover, and boy, I can't disagree with that. Winnipeg at home. Sean Salisbury is back for his second year as quarterback of the Bombers. They lost a few people on defense, James Jefferson, but you know, they're going to be strong and contenders in the Eastern Conference, and it's just too tough a task for Ottawa and the rookie coach Steve Goldman going in there. So yes, I think Ottawa will lose. 8 points Winnipeg. Give the 8. The over and under 41. I think it'll be under because I don't think Ottawa can score.
Now, Marty Adler makes the Edmonton Eskimos 4.5-point favorites at home against the BC Lions. How do you see that one on Thursday?
Well, you know, Marty likes Edmonton, and I think this is probably the best matchup of the week, no doubt about it. There's so much behind-the-scenes things that have gone on between these two teams, of course, with the trade to Matt Dunnigan, Braswell, Stuman, going over. Andre Francis is on defense now for Edmonton. Yeah. So from that perspective, a really interesting game. Marty likes Edmonton. Well, I like the BC Lions because I picked them to go to the Grey Cup from the West. So I'm going to take the 4.5 points and go with BC. Marty says 44 is the over and under. He says they'll be over, and I mean, when he's picking these over and unders, it's a joke. Sure, they're going to be over. They're going to score at least 50 points between the two teams.
I like it. You get on the bandwagon real early in the season for the BC Lions. All right, the game we've got here tonight, Saskatchewan and the Calgary Stampeders. 7.5-point favorites to the hometown Rough Riders, and I kind of like that.
Well, you know, I do too. It's always fun for you and I to come back to Regina. You were a broadcaster here. Of course, I started my career playing for the Rough Riders, and the enthusiasm is great to see, and I think that's going to carry over to the football team tonight. 7.5 points. I'm sure they'll be able to cover that. They've got a tremendously well-balanced team. Calgary, on the other hand, they've got a pretty good team, but unless you've got the gunner at quarterback, you're going to struggle. And I think tonight Danny Barrett will start. Dan Braber is the backup. Who he is, we don't really know. So they are struggling at quarterback, and I think Saskatchewan will have no trouble covering that. The over-under, Marty has 46. He says it will be under, and I kind of agree with him because I think Calgary might struggle on offense.
Well, I think they have to be expected to struggle a little bit. Danny Barrett, who is the starter tonight, has been in town for all of about a week, maybe less than a week, so he really doesn't know the offense, but he knows the Canadian Football League a little bit better than his backup tonight. So I guess that is what Coach Kuharich is banking on.
Danny Barrett is a tremendous athlete. You know, he's played quarterback, obviously, in this league. He's played slot back. He was the quarterback for the Stampeders in 1983. Tremendous athlete, and if he gets some protection from the offensive line, you never know. He could come up with a big effort.
All right, well, remember your picks and check in with you next week.
Now, if you can remember all this, you're a heck of a guy.
Okay, Peter, your turn again.
We can remember because we will be writing it down and keeping track, and we'll have a little fun between Marty and Leif and see how they're doing as the season rolls along. We didn't talk about Hamilton at Toronto in the Sky Dome because that game is underway at this moment. They're in the third quarter at last report, and the score is Toronto 11 and Hamilton 8 again in the third quarter. Coming up from Taylor Field in Regina, we've got the season opener for the Rough Riders against the Calgary Stampeders. And a reminder that local blackouts do apply in Saskatchewan. This game will not be seen in your area, so we suggest you check your local listings. That's it for this week's edition of the CFL Report. For Marty Adler, Leif Pedersen, John Wells, I'm Peter Watts. We thank you for joining us. So long from Regina.